everyone, it's Rose and welcome back to my channel. Today's video is going to be my February reading wrap up. So I'm going to take you through every single book I read this month. We're going to talk about my ratings and my thoughts. This month I read 13 books, which I know does sound like a lot. It's less than I normally read, but I found my first 5-star read of the year this month. So quality over quantity. Like I said, I know 13 is a lot, it's just lower than my average. So I guess let's just get straight into all the books I read. The first 3 books I read were all fantasy for a reading vlog that is coming out soon. So I'm not going to tell you too much about them, but I will tell you my ratings. So the first book I read was Assistant to the Villain by Hannah Nicole Mehara. This is a really funny fantasy book. It was so easy to get into. If you were looking for an introduction to fantasy, this is one I would definitely recommend. There wasn't really any world building, there wasn't a complex magic system. It was so surprisingly funny. Not that I didn't think it was going to be funny, but I don't often go into fantasy books laughing out loud, you know, and this book did that for me. And it's really short, it's like 340 pages. I would definitely recommend this if you are wanting to get into the fantasy genre. Then, oh god, I read Light Luck by Alex Aster. I rated this one 2 stars. I really wanted to read this because I've heard so many people say mixed things, a lot of 1 stars. And I went into this really wanting to be one of the people that really liked it, but unfortunately I didn't. I can't remember anything about this book, to be honest, other than it felt like instead of picking a few fantasy things and really fleshing them out, it just tried to put so many tropes, as many fantasy things in as possible, and none of them felt fleshed out. You know, we had curses, we had powers, we had a Hunger Games type thing, 100 days, and for these 10 days you're going to do this, and then these 10 days you're going to do this, and it was just so over explained and had so many different elements, and none of them felt fleshed out. Whereas I think if we would have just done a lot less and tried to put a few less tropes in, I guess they're not really tropes, but they're elements of fantasy books, I feel like they could have been developed really well, but they just weren't. I don't think I'm going to pick up the sequel. I didn't like this one. Next up, I read If I Have to Be Haunted by Miranda Sun, and I rated this one 3 stars. This is one of the fairly YA fantasy books. It's been a few months since this box, so that is not a spoiler at all. This had a really unique plot. I don't know if I've ever read something like this before. Basically, it was again a low fantasy. This girl can see ghosts, and her grandma was a ghost speaker too, and her grandma is a ghost that lives in her house and she can speak to and she's getting guidance from. And there's also a rival at school, and then something happens and they have 7 days to save his life, and it's kind of like Rivals to Lovers, I guess. I'm trying not to give away too much, but I did really enjoy this one. I rated it 3 stars. Honestly, the reason I didn't rate it higher is probably because I can't remember any more than that right now. I couldn't tell you if I like the characters or not. It feels like it's been a lot longer than a few weeks since I read them, but that is nothing, I'm not saying anything bad about the books, that is just my mind. Next up, I read 3 Freida McFadden books. I've been working through all of Freida McFadden's backlist. I think I have like 3 more to go, and then I've read them all. And her newest book came out this month called The Teacher, which is my first 5-star read of 2024. Now, I'm not going to tell you really anything about these 3 Freida McFadden books, but especially not The Teacher, other than I will say please check content warnings. The content warnings are kind of a spoiler, so I don't really want to say them, but my story graph is linked below. I did tag all the content warnings in my review. What I can tell you is the beginning of the book is basically talking about a student who is dealing with the fact that one of her teachers was fired last year for being inappropriate with her, and now all her peers are basically making it into this whole rumor mill, spreading, and now it's like she slept with him and she's being made fun of and bullied. So that's something to do with the content warnings. I will say this book is very dark. It is a twisted thriller. It made me feel physically sick at times, but I devoured it. I buddy read this one with my friend Ellen, and I had such fun time doing that with her. Thank you, Ellen, if you're watching this. We were like trying to guess theories together on Instagram. We were DMing each other like, oh my god, do you think this could happen? Do you think this could happen? It was just so good, so messed up. And then the next Freida McFadden book I read was The Wife Upstairs, which I rated 4 stars. I don't even know how to describe this one either. I don't really want to tell you anything. It's about this woman who goes to work in this guy's house because his wife fell down the stairs one day and she has a brain injury. She's physically disabled, she has brain damage. I think he underestimates how much she can understand though. He acts like she's completely, you know, doesn't understand when other people are talking in front of her, but I think she can comprehend a lot more of what he thinks. And this woman is basically hired just to spend time with her in the day. You know, there are nurses for the medical stuff and the nighttime, but he is a writer and he doesn't want his wife to be lonely while he's working all day, so she goes to spend time in this really isolated house and creepy stuff happens. Rated 4 stars. It was really messed up once again. And then I read The Devil Wears Scrubs, which was by Freida McFadden, and I rated this one 3 stars because it wasn't a thriller, and the only other things I've read from Freida McFadden were thrillers. She used to be a doctor. I don't know if she's still a doctor, but a lot of her books do involve medical students, and this one was more kind of just a comedy about a medical student and just all the things she sees and all the patients that have these unique cases. And then towards the end, I cried. It really took a turn. I rated 3 stars. I'm probably going to read the next one because there is a sequel, but more because I want to read everything Freida McFadden's written and I only have like 3 left, so I'm gonna read it. If it wasn't by Freida McFadden, I don't know if I'd read the sequel just because it's not my kind of book, but I did like it and I rated it 3 stars like I said. Then I read 3 Swedish Mountain Men by Lily Gold. This is a rom-com that deals with some surprisingly heavy topics. I read this one in pretty much one sitting. I rated it 3 stars. It was funny, it was good, it was nothing amazing. I don't really have anything to say other than that. Check Content Mornings because I knew what was going on, but it was like, do I want to be reading about this subplot when I was just going for a fun rom-com, you know? I did do quite a good job at lowering my physical TBR this month. I have Redeemed by Lauren Asher. I finished the Dirty Air series, which means I've now read everything Lauren Asher's put out. I rated this one 4 stars. This is Chloe and Santiago's story. What's the lighting doing? I'm about to get emotional and it's just... dude. So this book has some amazing disability representation. In the prologue of this book, Santi, who is a race driver that you will have met in the other books, a Formula 1 driver, gets into a car accident and his leg has to be amputated. Now, this story is deep. It deals with him having to come to terms with that, and it really... I don't know how to explain this without getting emotional. My mum has 1 arm and she's my hero, and loss of limbs or just disability representation to do with things like that in general, I just feel like I've never read in this way before that felt so well researched and so it was just really heartfelt, and really, it really felt like Lauren Asher did her research and she wrote it in such a realistic way, and he, you know, he found a woman who helped him come to terms with the fact it's not something to be ashamed of. And you know, he has all these expectations of like you know, he cancels taking his nephew swimming with her because he's like, really? Is now the time? He cancels like last minute going to the swimming pool because he's like, I just realized I haven't gone swimming since before I lost my leg and it's going to be on show. I can't cover it up. And she helps him see. So what? So what? Like, you are not less because of what happened to you. Your life doesn't have to be over. And like, she just helps him work through it. I feel like I'm rambling now, but this book was very special to me and I really liked it. I really felt for Chloe's story too. It was just, Lauren Asher can do no wrong, and I really like this book. And I know I sound stupid now, so we're gonna move on. Then I read a couple of thrillers. I think I read like the next 3 books in a day each. Like, I read this book, then the next day I read the next book, then the next day I read the next book, and then it went downhill, but that's fine. I have Someone We Know by Shari Lapena. This is a thriller, like I just said. Read it in a day. I read it in one sitting and I rated it 4 stars. It was super good, super messed up. It's really short, it's really fast paced, it's really intriguing. It was very thrilling, as a thriller should be. I really enjoyed it. I really like Shari Lapena's writing. I rated that on 4 stars. I definitely would recommend. Then I read The Mysterious Case of the Alperton Angels by Janice Hallett, which I also rated 4 stars. This one's longer. This was so kindly sent to me by Tandem Collective a while ago. Thank you guys. I'm sorry it took so long to get around to it, but oh my gosh, I'm so mad at myself that I didn't read this sooner. This book is completely told through mixed media. So it is all told through text messages, emails, transcribed phone calls, newspaper articles. Like, there's no actual just writing. And it's basically about this cult that nearly sacrificed a baby because they believed they were angels in human form and the baby was like the Antichrist and they had to kill it, and the mum was sucked into the cult, but she, you know, broke out of it and saved her baby. And now it's been 18 years and the baby's about to turn 18. So it was completely obviously not named, like given, adopted, taken away, completely anonymous. But the baby's now about to turn 18, so they're like, if we can track it down, we can get an exclusive interview kind of thing. It's about these 2 separate, I don't want to say reporters because they're not reporters. She writes true crime books and this is going to be her new angle, and he does a similar thing but he's not as well known, and they used to go to school together and they hate each other but you don't know why till the end. And they have to try and kind of work together, and she is a lot more sympathetic to the fact that, you know, the parents of this baby were minors at the time. I think they were both 17, and the other angels in this cult were like 40, completely brainwashed them. And the guy is like, they were old enough to know better, they're so stupid, like how could you ever, I think they're so dumb. And then slowly he starts to be manipulated by the case 18 years later, and it's like, wow, I thought you thought she was so stupid and now you're believing it, like, and you're not even being influenced by actual people right now, just by reading on the case. So many twists and turns. The ending, like, I was so sad, like, what? I rated 4 stars. If you know, you know. I really liked that one. And then I read a book that really disappointed me. I read If We Ever Meet Again by Anne Huang, and I ended up rating this book 2 stars. There is a trope in this that I absolutely hate, and this is a 4-book series, but the first 2 books are about the same couple, right? After the second half of this first book, how am I ever supposed to root for them in the second book? Because I feel what happened was completely irredeemable and unforgivable, and I'm sure there's going to be an explanation in it for the second book, but I honestly don't want to pick that book up because I'm like, okay, you guys just shouldn't be together. The next book's set like 5 years in the future. I think they're gonna get a second chance, but you might want to check the tropes for this one, but the tropes are a spoiler, so that's why I'm not saying it. But I rated it 2 stars. And then I think I read the last 2 books over like the past week and a half, because that one made me not want to pick anything up again. The Fixer Upper by Phoebe McLeod, and rated it 2 stars as well. This was so kindly gifted to me by NetGalley and Libro FM. It is out now. My full review is up on Goodreads and probably Storygraph. I don't know. This was supposed to be, I thought it was a romance, but I think it's more women's fiction. But there was romance in it. The woman in this book, the main woman, was in a relationship for the first 50%. Over halfway through the book, they break up, and I'm like, I know who the love interest is going to be, but you guys are completely in the friend zone because you've had a partner till now. She doesn't even mention anything to do with any sort of attraction, whether that be physical or like just chemistry between them, till like 80% in. How the hell am I supposed to root for you guys? That's not a slow burn. A slow burn is when you can see the chemistry and you see they like each other. Thank you to NetGalley and Libro FM for giving me the arc. I'm really sorry that I didn't like it. I shouldn't be sorry I didn't like it, but I'm sorry that I'm giving it a negative review because you guys so kindly sent it to me. You know? Move on to the last book, which I'm actually reading right now, but I am going to finish it today, so I'll be finishing it in February. That is Take a Hint, Daddy Brown by Talia Hibbert. This is so fun. I feel like the anxiety is represented so well as well. Definitely check content warnings. It's about Danny, of course, who she's friends with the security guard called Zafir, and a video of them goes viral when he saves her from a burning building. But I think it's literally just like a routine fire alarm, but she got stuck in the lift when it was going on, so she didn't know what was going on. But it went viral, and he used to be I'm not sure what sport it is, rugby? Yes, rugby. And now he does like this rugby thing with training, but also mental health, and how important it is for mental health to be represented in sports, you know? And this video goes viral. Everyone thinks they're a couple, and he says to Danny, can we pretend to be in a relationship, because like this is really gonna help get me out there and be able to promote what I'm doing, and show how important mental health is. So she's like, yeah. She doesn't do relationships, she doesn't believe in love, she's just like, I'll do this because he's my friend and also maybe we can like hook up, but I don't do relationships. This man reads romance books, he believes in true love and all of this, so it's like they're total opposites. I really like the fact that it's the girl that's like, I don't do relationships, because a lot of the times it's the other way around. It's the guy that doesn't do relationships and it just comes off as like playboy, whereas with this one it doesn't come off like she's a play woman. I don't know how you'd word that, but it just comes off as she is respectful about it. The fact that she makes it very clear she feels like she doesn't do good in relationships because she finds it hard to prioritize them over her work, which she loves. And I have a feeling it's going to be a 4-star. I'm really enjoying it so far. What I'm going to do after this video is finish it. It's really good. The main guy has anxiety, and I feel like it's written really well, and also the way she reacts when she sees him nervous is really lovely and supportive, and I just loved it. So I just loved it. I haven't finished it yet, but I know I'm gonna love the second half just as much as the first half. There you go. Those are all 13 books I read in February. Even though I read less books than January, I think I had a better reading month overall. I had a lot higher ratings. I think I had like 3 1-stars last month. No 1-stars this month. A couple 2-stars, but that's fine. 3 2-stars. But again, that's fine. But that is everything I read. Let me know what you read in February. If you've read any of these, what did you think of them? I'm pretty sure that's everything I have for you guys today. Thank you so much for watching. If you'd like to see more from me, please be sure to like and subscribe as I post new videos every single week. I hope you have a lovely day and I will see you in another video. Bye!